What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we will be going over the Belo Betty deck, and we're mostly going to be looking at whether it is the top budget competitive deck currently in the meta. So if we take a look at Belo Betty, it's a 5k leader with 4 life. That's the red-yellow color archetype, and she has the activate main ability that once per turn you may trash one Revolutionary Army type card from your hand, and up to 3 of your Revolutionary Army type characters or characters with a trigger gain 3,000 power during this turn. So that's the key part here, because you can actually give 3,000 power to non-Revolutionary Army characters, which allows you to have a little more variety in your deck and play other characters such as maybe Satori that has a trigger, can trigger out of life, and it allows you to really spam the board and apply extra pressure that way. The key features with this deck is the color combination is she will be using red's aggression to really rush down the board or the character before your enemy really gets a chance to set up their deck, set up their removal, their defenses, their attacks. Also, yellow's trigger abuse. Like I said, you'll be able to be bringing characters from life. You'll be able to trigger certain extra cards from triggers, such as the 7-drop Sabo. If that comes out of life, you'll be able to draw 2 cards. I mean, this deck is really geared towards gas pedal, gas pedal, gas pedal. She is what I would consider a glass cannon, having 4 life and running so many cards that are they're low attack power and low cost to bring out, but her activate main allows her to really ramp those characters up to actually get swings in the early game against leader or other characters at 5k minimum. And having that extra ability to apply that pressure at 5k, they're either going to try and counter out of that or block out of that or just take life. And so you're actually just gas pedaling nonstop. And then they have to make the choice. Do they go after your 4 life, which makes you squishy as a leader, or do they go after your board, which is gonna just keep bringing the heat the next round? So they have some really hard choices to make. So when we're looking at this deck, we're looking at 3 key features, in my opinion. We're looking at the affordability of the deck, the competitiveness, and the pedigree. Does this deck have a history of success? And I believe it does, for a deck that isn't played as much as, let's say, like Doflamingo, Plouffe, those decks, Rob Lucci. Those are the top competitive decks, so more people more often than not show up with those decks. And running into a Belo Betty early on at like locals or something, or at the end, and not really knowing how to deal with the aggression that this deck can truly throw out if it hits its curve, this deck is just going to just roll over everything it possibly can. So as far as affordability, we're going to go over to TCG Player, and we're going to take a look at how much it costs to get into this deck so that you can play it competitively. And what do I mean by affordability? I mean a sub $50 deck. Can this deck be purchased? And we're not talking about max rarity or anything like that. We're talking about people being able to afford $50 to have fun and be competitive at the same time. All right, so if we're taking a look at the affordability of the Belo Betty deck, we're going to go to TCG Player. I went through and added everything that you're going to need to the cart. This is for current cards that are available. 7 packages, 79 total items. The shipping is only $5 because we went through and cherry picked to make sure that we were getting free shipping on as many orders as we could. With item total, this is all before tax, $36.43. We're looking at about $40 for a competitive deck in the current meta. So we get 4 of the koalas. This is your 2K. We're paying $1.67. We're getting 4 SRs, and then we got free shipping on this one. That's because we went through and we picked up a majority of what we needed to get that free shipping. We got our Imperial Ivankovs, Belo Bettys. I put this Belo Betty in here because it's not in the deck that I run, but you never know. You might want to tech it in, and for 40 cents, you can get a playset while getting free shipping. Yeah, you're definitely going to do stuff like that to save money. We got 4 Raise Maxes. I only use 2 in my current deck. but still, get play sets while you can. It's only 48 cents more, and you're going to get a full play set. We go to the Inazumas. These are the ones that's kind of difficult to get because there's not a lot of them in these different stores that I went to. So we're paying $2.23. That's with shipping for these items. R&R Gaming, we got free shipping here. We picked up Karasu, which is a pivotal card, and the Lindbergh. These are both very pivotal to this deck. And we got free shipping on that. More koalas. I just pick up playsets because you never know what you're going to want to swap in and swap out to make your deck more competitive, to get your playstyle down. Something might change in the meta later on, and you might need 4 koalas instead of 2 koalas. So you never know. Pick up these Sabas just because 40 cents. You might use them, you might not use them. They're a little expensive at a 7-drop for this deck, but it might come into use later, and picking up for 40 cents right now on this is kind of like a no-brainer. Bartholomew Kumas and more Karasus. Obviously, we're going to need the leader. I picked up some Dragon's Breath. You might want to tech them in. This is something you can pitch on your leader ability if you don't have the Dawn to use them in a turn to give that 3,000 power to 3 of your characters. Porio Vonkovs, and then the Monkey D Dragon. I only picked up 2 of these. Most decks I see, they either run none or 2. I don't think you want to run any more than 2 because of how expensive this character is to play. More often than not, you're going to want to put more characters out. That way you can spread the board out, go as wide as you can. But the Monkey D Dragon, if you have a couple characters on board and you're going for the game, being able to drop that with Rush, apply 2 Dawn to a character or leader, and then, you know, trash another card to give out more 3k bonuses to all your characters, it really just is like a game ender. It's your big body for going for the final kill. And then all in, we're looking at 40 bucks. This is a competitive deck. It has all the pieces you need. It has extra pieces if you want to tech stuff in, tech stuff out. This is a great value for a deck that is in the top 10 of decks on the sim right now. So when we're talking about competitiveness for Belo Betty, we're going to look at the data. This is the most recent data from February 13th to the 19th of 2025. This comes from the TCG Matchmaking Discord. So if you want to get this information and these weekly updates, join that Discord. It gets a lot of information, shows you the current decks, how they're performing, and where their position is as far as the rank ladder goes. New data might be coming out before this video launches, so if you want that data, make sure join that Discord. But if we take a look at Belo Betty, she has 959 games. She has a 52.4% win rate. That is the second highest, right below Doflamingo, on this top 10. The reason why her rating is so low is because there isn't as much data to pull to really push her and propel her higher than where she's at, because everyone else has way more games. And if you look at Doflamingo, he has almost 9 times more matches than what Belo Betty has. But if we look at the top 5, she is a favorable matchup to 3 of the 5 that are there. And those are the most common decks that you're seeing right now in the meta. The Plouffe is over 55%. The Blackbeard is about 60% matchup. And then if we're looking at the Black Yellow Luffy, that is a 60% matchup, just over 60%. The Shanks is a 50-50. Shanks is pretty much a 50-50 leader, but she really suffers against Doflamingo. There's that board spam, and it's really hard to keep up with Doflamingo. But with the recent ban announcement that's coming, everybody believes that if Doflamingo doesn't get banned, something in his kit is going to be removed to slow him down and make him more balanced leader. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with Doflamingo, but whatever it does, if it slows him down, it just makes Belo Betty more viable, and you'll probably see her win percentage go up versus Doflamingo if he stays in the current meta. As far as bad matchups, Doflamingo, Rob Lucci, Anel, Smoker, Katakuri, those are all pretty bad matchups, but Rob Lucci isn't being played as much anymore. Smoker is definitely taking over more of the black removal outside of the Teach. Teach is becoming more popular. So odds are, if something does happen to Doflamingo, you're going to see Belo Betty rise on these charts and have better win percentages, because people tend to move towards the more meta deck and want to, they want to get the win. But as far as me, I like to play on a budget, but I also like to be competitive. So as far as that goes, I think Belo Betty has a very good future, and it only gets better in OP10. She's going to get some cards there that's going to help her out. It's going to allow people to tech more choices into what they want to do with the deck, and really, you know, nail down their specific playstyle and how they want to utilize Belo Betty going forward. So when we're talking about pedigree, we're talking about whether a deck has a history of success that potentially points to a future success. And so if we take a look at this deck list right here, this is from the #1 OP Sim Belo Betty player. They topped the Bandai Card Fest Orlando, placing 43rd overall. This was just over a month ago. And this Belo Betty player has a history of success with this deck because they topped 16 in the Wisconsin regional tournaments as well. So it just goes to show that this deck had potential back then. It still has potential now. I just think it's underplayed, and as we see the meta change with this current ban coming up, I think you might see more Belo Betty players show up and really bring this deck into the spotlight. Now, if we take a look at this next deck, this is a top 32 Belo Betty in Australian CS. Now, this deck won top 32 2 weeks ago, and this deck has different tech choices. As you can tell, he put in 4 of these Satori's. It's a trigger card, 5k body, 5 drop. I don't think he's ever going to utilize it to bring on the board by using his Dawn. He's just trying to get it to trigger out of his life. So the pedigree is here. I just think that as more people start to really see Belo Betty, see the potential, I think you're going to see more of them start to show up, and I think it's going to really change the format, and other people's decks are going to have to shift around this real rush deck that just shows up and just wants to blitz you down. Overall, I believe Belo Betty is a fantastic deck, especially at that below $50 price range. I think the future is going to be really good for this deck, especially if more people start to play it, and we see more successes with it. But let me know what you guys think down below, and then consider subscribing, give it that thumbs up, and let me know if this is the type of video you like, and I can try and do more videos like this on other decks. And we'll catch you on the next one. You guys have a good one.